Tomorrow morning at 9.
Well, Mr. Hughes, Tony O'Reilly's just informed me that my son withdrew $8 million from the Oakdale Bank the day he died. How long were you planning to keep that information from me?
Mr. Lombard, this is neither the place nor the time to get into this discussion. I can assure you, if my office is withholding information in regard to this investigation, it is with good reason.
And what might that reason be? I am sick and tired of getting the runaround from you people. If that money wasn't in Brock's hotel suite when the police arrived on the scene, then I can be pretty sure that the motive for his murder was robbery.
Robbery was not the motive, sir.
And you're telling me the money was in the suite?
Again, I am not at liberty to discuss this.
Problem, Philip?
I'll say there is. The district attorney here seems intent on protecting his friend Ellie Snyder when he should be finding out who murdered my son.
I fully intend to find the murderer of your son and bring him to justice. I am not going to discuss this with you any further. If you would like to come to my office tomorrow.
Indeed, I will. First thing in the morning.
Fine. Excuse me.
Mr.
I'm sorry about
Lombard, I appreciate your frustration. I mean, it's absolutely understandable. I'm so terribly frustrated myself. I can't get any information from the police. Not from me, not from my reporters. Nothing whatsoever. Now, if you can drag anything out of that young man tomorrow, if you give it to me, I promise you that it will reach the people through the City Times.
Finally. Someone in this town who understands what I'm going through.
Mrs. Walsh Dixon, nice to meet you.
Thank you, Mrs. Walsh.
John, it is imperative that no one know that you forged the death certificate for Lawrence Finlay. That goes double for Lucinda. I am sorry to put you in this position.
I got it, okay? I understand. Speaking of my wife, I better get back there before it looks too suspicious. I'll see you guys later.
Thanks, Sigmund.
So what did Philip Lombard have to say?
Well, interestingly enough, he knew about the money that Brock withdrew from the bank. Tonio told him. I found it odd that Tonio neglected to mention that when we questioned him.
Now, I'm just guessing, but Lucinda happened to hear the whole thing?
I believe it was staged for her benefit.
Tom, look, I've got to talk to you about the Lombard case. Now, the City Times is way ahead of the Argus.
Mom, I cannot release any more information.
That is not fair. Now, come on, give your mother a break.
Are you sure Caleb wasn't down in the cellar?
Yeah, maybe he was in the men's room or something.
No, I was down there for 20 minutes. He's definitely not down there.
Well, something's wrong. I mean, he wouldn't just disappear for 20 minutes and not tell us where he was going.
God. Oh, God. Oh, man, come on, don't be dead. Oh, come on, man.
Freeze! Freeze!
Put your hands behind your head, back away from the body, and stand up slowly. Now! Caleb.
As the world turns.
Keep him where we can see him.
It's all right, Kent. I know. I'm calling an ambulance. Forget the ambulance. He's a goner. Call the station, have him send a team down here. Caleb, you mind telling me what the hell you're doing here?
Hal, a guy called me at the Mona Lisa and said that he had evidence that could help clear Ellie. He didn't want the police involved. He wanted me to come alone, so I came.
And you believed him?
Yes, Hal. I'm just trying to help Ellie any way I can. What are you doing here?
Well, we got an anonymous call down at the station telling us if we wanted to find Brock's killer that we should get over to Ellie's office right away.
Caleb left 45 minutes ago. He said he was going down to the cellar.
No, wait, no, I know he didn't do that. He put on his coat and he walked outside.
Well, why didn't he tell me? Why did he leave without telling me?
Ellie, he was drinking a lot at dinner. Maybe he just went outside for a breath of air.
Well, go talk to AJ. Have him look in the restroom. Maybe he's in the bathroom, all right?
It is really strange that Caleb would just take
Mr.
off like that.
Hughes, I have to tell you, it disturbs me greatly to see you being so friendly with a prime suspect in my son's murder.
Mr. Lombard, I am not going to discuss this with you here.
I know. In your office in the morning, but can't we make it a little sooner? I mean, if I could get some answers tonight, maybe I could get at least a few hours sleep.
All right, my wife and I are going to have dinner. As soon as we're finished, we're going to go down to the police station. If you would like to meet me there later...
That's much more satisfactory. Thank you.
Thomas, we have to have a little chat.
Why do I get the feeling this is not going to be a pleasant one?
Ellie told me everything tonight. All about the kind of business the Lombards operate in Chicago. About the Dreyfus incident in Indiana. Everything. Now, it's obvious that someone within the Lombard organization killed Brock because they got wind he was about to turn state's evidence, and they're setting Ellie up to take the fall. It is also obvious that you've known about this situation from the very beginning, and you've been withholding pertinent information from me that directly affects my client and instructing her to do the same.
Jess, I have kept some information from you. It is vitally important that Philip Lombard thinks that we believe this love triangle theory that he's been trying to pawn off on us. One slip of information, anything in the wrong hands.
Joe Bailey and Jason Benedict have been trying to nail Lombard for years. And we all know that Ellie's being set up, but proving it's going to be very tricky. That's why all the secrecy.
Well, I understand that, Margot. But my obligation is to my client. That comes first, and I insist on being kept informed.
Jess, there is some information that I cannot divulge.
Okay. Okay. I'll accept that for now. But in the future, I want to be there whenever you question Ellie about anything.
You will be. Remember, we're on the same side.
Oh, I know. I just want to make sure you do. Ellie, I just spoke to Tom. And the next time he questions you about anything, I will be there.
Thank you, Jessica.
Jessica, where did Blake go?
Oh, something about meeting a client.
Who?
Don't know, he didn't say. I'm gonna get back to my table.
Thank you, Jessica.
Ellie.
Yeah.
Darling, AJ checked with the parking attendant, and he said that Caleb got in his car and drove away.
All right, I'm gonna call out to the farm. Maybe he went to the farm. I don't know why he would go there. I don't know why he would leave, but I'm gonna call him.
You know, I just wish Ellie would tell us what's going on with her and Caleb about the police. Hello? You want to tell me what's buzzing, what thoughts are buzzing around in your brain?
Just the usual lustful ones about you. Come on, let's slow dance. I'll tell you more.
Duncan, Tonio's already bought the television station. Staring daggers at him all night is not going to change that.
I know. It just makes my blood boil to think that that snake is going to be a significant molder of public opinion in this town.
I know exactly how you feel, and I think I have a way that we can hoist him by his own petard. Now listen to me.
Sounds good.
John gave me the day off. Well, if there's nobody else available. Okay, I just have to put on some clothes, and I'll be right over there. They want me in ER. There's been a bad accident on the interstate.
Mom, I don't really think you're in any condition to work on patients tonight.
I'm groggy from my nap, that's all.
Oh. How many of those painkillers did you take today?
One, which happens to be half the usual dosage, Miss Amateur MD. I'm gonna be fine just as soon as I hit the fresh air. I'm gonna call your grandmother and ask her to come and stay.
Please don't, Mom. I will be fine. Officer Hanson is right outside the door. I'm okay here. All right, I'll call her.
Thanks.
Hello.
Emily, Philip Lombard. How are you?
Well, I'm hanging in there.
Believe me, I know what you're going through. Emily, as painful as it is, we need to start thinking about the funeral arrangements. Provided, of course, the police will release Brock's body tomorrow. I could make the arrangements myself, but I would prefer it if you could be part of it all. I know Brock would want it that way. I'm wondering if I could come by and see you this evening, and we could talk about it.
Lucinda, do you know of any client that might want to meet with Blake at this hour?
Blake?
Yeah.
No, why? Why?
Well, just wondering.
Oh, I didn't tell you. I was privy to a very interesting conversation between Mr. Lombard and Tom. And guess what?
What?
The police are withholding information about the murder from the father as well as the media. There's something fishy going on.
Listen to me.
Fishy.
Just drop it, okay? If Tom and the police are doing that, I'm sure they have their own reasons.
Here goes. This is for you. Thank you, AJ. Hello, it's Tom Hughes. Yes, Hal. When? Are you at the station? We're on our way. You're not gonna believe this. Hal just found Harry Roper dead in Ellie's office. Caleb Snyder was kneeling next to the body. Thank you.
What do you mean that Caleb...
Hal didn't go into detail.
Should we tell Ellie?
Let's find out what happened.
If you're leaving for the police station, Jim and I will follow in our car.
So Lombard, as a matter of fact, I'm not gonna be able to keep our meeting. Something's come up.
Well, at least tell me what happened to the money you withdrew from the bank.
Okay. The police found some diamonds in Brock's apartment. They were valued at roughly $10 million.
Diamonds? Oh, I don't understand.
The diamonds will remain in the possession of the police until the investigation is complete. That's all I can tell you now. We gotta go.
No, Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to worry you. No, I'm sure that Caleb is fine.
Hello, honey. I was just checking in. Did your grandmother get there okay?
Mom, stop worrying. Everything is all right here. Where are you calling me from, ER?
No, I'm in the lab. One of the patients that I treated had to go into surgery, so I thought I would hang around and do some work and wait till he got out. Yeah, see you later. Oh.
Make it 2.
Oh. What are you doing back here?
Oh, one of my cardiac patients came in with arrhythmia. He's stabilized now, but I want to stick around and just keep my eye on the situation. Thanks.
Did Kim and John ever catch up with Andy and for dinner?
No, they weren't able to track him down in time. He showed up at the house just as I was leaving. Apparently, he was over at the Mona Lisa with Julie. They did have an argument, and she was moving out.
I thought so.
They seem to have talked things over and patched things up.
Oh,
Yeah,
darn it. What is the matter with me? I'm all thumbs.
You all right?
Yeah, fine. Just tired, that's all. I was up all night with Emily. She's feeling very, devastated, of course, by what happened to Brock.
Well, you know, she's really lucky to have a mother who's there for her when the chips are down.
Yeah, now that she's older, all grown up, I can't help but wonder what it would be like if I'd been there for her years ago when she really needed me. You know, her life might have taken a whole different turn.
Come on, Susan, we've all made mistakes that we wish we could undo, but the important thing is to learn from them and move on. You've done that. You've turned your life around. Be proud of that.
Thanks. It must be too much caffeine and too little sleep. I think it affects the old eye ducts. Listen, don't you have to go check on a patient or something?
Yeah, I do.
I'll see you later.
Yeah, I have a fresh pot of coffee waiting.
Make it decaf next time, huh?
Thank you. Why don't you join me for a little while?
I should. Dr. Dixon has been staring at me all night. I don't want to make this any harder on Andy than it already is.
Then why don't you give up your idea of having a talk with him? You're only going to prolong his pain.
No, I actually think it might help. Make me feel better anyway. Why don't you go on back home to the penthouse? It's silly of you to sit here by yourself.
No, I enjoy sitting here. I get to watch you. And I spoke with Fred. He's going to come and join me. We're going to do a little business.
Speaking of lawyers, I was thinking maybe I would ask Jessica Griffin if she could call up Veronica Leathers tomorrow and see about that contract.
I told you I was going to take care of that.
The fact that Brock converted the money he withdrew plus another $2 million into diamonds proves he was getting ready to pull a fast one on us. It bothers me that Reyes helped him set up that secret account.
Me too. I think it's time we find out just how much Reyes knows about our operation. There's something I have to take care of. Alone. Wait for me here.
Thank you.
Well, I have telephoned all over town, and Ambrose is not to be found. He's probably in hiding. And well he might be. How could he let Tony Reyes pull the wool over those wise old eyes? To think that cheat, that liar is going to be disseminating the news to the good people of Oakdale. It's a new low, darling. It's a new low in the annals of electronic journalism.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, Duncan, now please, for heaven's sake, you would make a wonderful you managing editor of the Argus.
Excuse me, Miss Griffin, there's a phone call for you at the podium.
Oh, thank you, AJ.
You're
Excuse me.
Lisa, I don't know anything about running a newspaper.
Well, I did Uncle Earl when he started, and he did a terrific job. I think it's a wonderful idea.
All right, look, if I can't talk you into dancing with me, I'm going to take Iva for one more spin. Come on, let's go.
Ellie, I just got a phone call. It's Caleb, isn't it? What's wrong?
He's at the police station. Apparently, he stumbled on another dead body.
Dr. Davis said you were expecting him?
Yes. Come on in. Dr. Davis.
Well, I thought I'd better use another name. The district attorney would not be happy that I'm here. For some absurd reason, he thinks I'm the enemy. See, Emily, Connie and I have been so worried about you.
How is she?
Well, she's taking the news very badly. She's been sedated by the doctor. My brother Joseph is taking care of her at the house.
Come on in.
Emily, I want you to be assured that Connie and I are going to see to it that you're taken care of financially before we talk about the funeral.
Mr. Lombard, please, you don't have to do that. I have my own money. And Brock and I discussed the fact that if anything ever happened to him, the entire estate would go to Greg and Denise.
Greg and Denise, I don't even know where they are. Do you have any idea how I could locate Marjorie? I've tried family, friends all over Italy.
I have no idea. Brock and I very rarely ever talked about Marjorie after the divorce.
I see. Well, if you can remember how to get in touch with him, please tell me. I can't settle the estate until they're back. Marjorie doesn't even know her father took his own life. Now this. The children are going to be devastated. Are you sure there's nothing we can do for you financially?
Well, there is one thing. After I sold my partnership in Montgomery & Associates, I turned my money over to Brock so that he could start a joint account for the two of us.
Now what Tonio Reyes said to me makes sense. He said Brock withdrew $8 million from the bank and was going to convert it and another $2 million into diamonds. Now I understand. Do you have any idea why he would do that?
No, I don't.
Well, obviously, whoever murdered him didn't do it for the money. The district attorney told me the police found the diamonds. Probably they were somewhere in Brock's safe in his suite.
No, I was there during the search. They found those diamonds in Caleb Snyder's coat pocket.
Look, I'm telling you the truth. I didn't kill that guy.
Relax, Caleb. We believe you. We're fairly certain it was a setup, just like the diamonds.
We were just about to bring Roper in. We had a positive ID on him. Obviously, Lombard knew that, so he had to silence him, and he figured he'd get double mileage by implicating you.
Oh, hey, Ellie. Oh, good to see you.
You all right?
Yeah.
What happened? Jessica said you found a dead body in my office. What?
Remember that phone call I got at the Mona Lisa? Well, it wasn't Cal after all. It was this guy saying that he had evidence that could clear you. But he wanted me to go down to your office alone. So when I got there and I walked in, I turned on the light, and there was this guy dead on the floor.
I hope you know that this is Philip's doing.
We know that. The trick is proving it.
Should I take Mr. Snyder down to fingerprints now?
Wait a minute. You're booking him?
No, we're not booking anybody.
No, we found an extra set of prints in Brock Lombard's suite that we can't match up to the computer, so we just want to recheck Caleb's with the ones we have on file and rule out all the people we know were already there.
Well, all right, if that's the reason.
Everything's gonna be okay, all right?
Detective, the personal effects of the deceased. Harry Roper.
Thank you, Kent. All right, let's see what we got. Hope it's not more bad news.
Not either,
We'll continue with part 2 of As the World Turns in just a moment. And now, part 2 of As the World Turns.
Okay, fingerprinting is done.
Don't worry about it.
Does this stuff come off?
Yeah, a little soap and water.
This does not look good.
Don't
It's
worry
gonna be
about
okay.
it. It's going to be fine.
Hey.
Hal, what do you got?
Well, Lucas had about $1,000 cash on him when he was killed. He had this audio cassette and a letter. It was typed on memo paper with "From the desk of Ellie Snyder" printed on top and the initials ES.
Well, what does it say?
Don't do anything yet. I think things are going a little better with BL, and I want to try to reason with him again. He has to understand how desperate I am and how serious. If I still can't get through to him, we'll go ahead as planned with his current, quote, interest, unquote. It's initialed ES.
May I see this? That looks exactly like my initials.
But you didn't initial it.
No, I didn't initial it, and I didn't type it.
Oh, what about this envelope that it came in? It has Lucas written on front?
Yeah, it looks exactly like my writing, but I didn't write that.
Obviously, someone forged it to make it look like Ellie and Lucas Pryor were hatching this thing together.
Well, whoever it was, they must have gotten in and used your machine before Caleb got into your office. We'll have to check it out.
Well, what's on the tape?
Your voice.
I want to be up front. I'm not dating these days. I'm still trying to get over Brock. But I'm not sure I ever will.
That's it.
That doesn't make any sense.
Must have been for a conversation you had with someone in Brock's suite when Lombard was bugging it.
No. No, I never had this conversation in Brock's suite. I mean, I've never had this conversation. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that I've been trying to get over a relationship with Craig, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I had a similar conversation like this with Lucas Pryor one night when he took me home to the farm.
Pryor was probably carrying a wire.
But I didn't say anything about trying to get over Brock. I said I was trying to get over a relationship, and I was talking about Craig.
And someone must have doctored the tape, edited in Brock's name.
Well, there's some way to prove that, right?
No problem. I'll have it shipped down to the lab tomorrow. First thing.
All right. Like I said, Ellie, everything is going to be fine.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, it's just fine. I mean, what if they can't prove that this tape was doctored? The only person that can verify that conversation is Lucas Pryor, and he's dead, and the only other person that could clear me was Finley, and he's dead too.
I have a bone to pick with you, John. I just was talking to Marla. Why didn't you tell me he died?
Who?
You know who. The patient in ICU under 24-hour police guard.
You want me to tell you every time I lose a patient?
Don't be cute with me, darling. This was a patient who was a special patient. He shot Lucas Pryor. He's tied up with Brock Lombard's murder, too.
Oh, excuse me, do you know where Ellie is? Oh, my heavens, I forgot to tell you. She had to leave. She was going to meet Caleb, and then he was going to drive her home.
Yeah, but how
Meet him where? What? She didn't say, darling.
Yeah, and how? I mean, her car wasn't here.
Well, Jessica was leaving about the same time, so she gave her a lift. Would you two excuse me, please?
You know, something strange is going on here.
Well, I'll say. First Blake leaves, then Caleb, now Ellie and Jessica. I'm hanging on to you. Make sure you're not next.
Now, Duncan, come on, come on. Have you made a decision?
Oh, Lisa, after some not so subtle pressure from my beautiful bride, I guess you have a new managing editor of the Argus.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's terrific.
You better get him to sign a contract soon, though, before he changes his mind.
Yes, that's true, that's true. But first things first. AJ,
Yes.
a champagne, please.
Right away. So where's Ellie?
She went home. I think it's very nice that she was able to be out and enjoy herself, given the situation. Of course, none of us know exactly what the situation is. The police are so bound and determined to keep every tiny detail to themselves about Brock Lombard's untimely demise. Thank you, Don. But I can assure you, the City Times will not remain in the dark. No matter who it is, the police are so assiduously trying to protect.
Decaf.
Thanks. Gotta watch that caffeine. Can be addictive, you know.
Yeah, I have to remember that.
Listen, just tell me if this is none of my business, but, how do things stand with you and John now?
Oh, where they stood a year ago. We're pals, we're colleagues, but nothing more than that. I guess I should have known better. I got to hoping for things I knew would never happen in my brighter moments. Anyway, it's over.
I'm sorry.
Well, you don't have to be sorry for me. You should be sorry for John. He had to go back to Lucinda. Oh, well, that's his problem, not mine.
That's a pretty brave front you're putting on.
No, I guess I'll be miserable about it at some point, but it just hasn't caught up with me yet. I think I've been too busy worrying about my daughter and her problems.
I am so incensed about the way Tom Hughes is pursuing this investigation. I mean, obviously, Ellie and Caleb Snyder killed Brock. But for some warped reason, he is not pressing charges because he's loyal to them. Do you think I'm wrong?
I don't know.
Well, who else could have done it, Emily? When I heard the news, I thought, obviously, it was Ellie. Didn't you? Emily?
I don't know what to think anymore. The police seem to feel that Brock's murder was tied to Lucas Pryor and the other man who broke into my apartment to attack me.
Hogwash. A smokescreen they put up to try to keep the real truth from coming out. When I first heard about what happened in your apartment, I thought the two shootings were related, too. Now that I know Caleb Snyder was found with diamonds in his pocket...
What are you saying, that Ellie and Caleb killed Brock for diamonds?
No, I don't think robbery was the motive. The motive was revenge. Pure and simple. Ellie finally realized all her attempts to win back Brock had failed. You won, she lost. And in her mind, she thought, if I can't have him, nobody can. And she couldn't kill Brock by herself. She had to get help, so she roped in her brother Caleb. And of course, we all know Caleb hated Brock.
What about the diamonds?
The diamonds were just icing on the cake. Imagine how enraged Ellie must have felt. Knowing Brock was going to marry you. Knowing how very deeply he loved you in a way he could never love her. This was her way of getting back at both of you. Well, I should be getting back to the Mona Lisa. Jim's waiting for me there. I'll take care of the funeral arrangements along the lines we discussed.
All right.
And I'll also look into what happened to the money you gave Brock as your share of the partnership.
Thank you.
Emily, I want you to take care of yourself, all right? And if there's anything I can do for you, any problem with money, just a phone call away. Take care now. Now that I know the diamonds were found in Caleb's coat pocket, I'm more convinced than ever he and Ellie were the ones who killed Brock.
One of my goals for the new year is to bring WOAK up to network standards, especially the news department. I'm going to be firing some of Lucinda's people, and top of the list will be Judith Clayton.
But her Heart of the City has very high ratings.
I don't care. I think she's crass and abrasive. And she cast me in an unflattering light on several occasions. No, I want her gone as soon as possible. Don't worry, Fred. It's just business. I think we can find a more attractive replacement for her. As a matter of fact, when Julie and I were in New York, there was a young anchor woman on one of the local newscasts. Blythe Nelson. Make some phone calls. See if she's available.
Blythe Nelson?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Also, check her ratings over the last cycle and see what kind of demographics she got.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you for dinner. I'll be in touch.
Good.
Here you go.
Ah, thank you. Well, I'm on my way back to the penthouse. Can you join me?
I can't just leave. I work here, remember?
Not for long, I hope.
Well, the sooner you get me that contract with Veronica Leathers, the sooner I'll have a reason to leave.
I was hoping I was reason enough.
Sweetheart, could I see you a minute, please?
Sure, Lisa.
Julie, I know that you have to do business with Tonio, but I have warned you about him. Please, do not trust that man. What I really wanted to talk to you about was, I talked earlier with Andy. I was trying to help him understand what was really going on in the situation between the two of you, but I don't think I got through to him.
Well, we're getting together tomorrow. I'm going to try to talk things out like you suggested.
Julie, here you go.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon, I hope.
Mr. Reyes, just the man I wanted to see. There are a few things we need to go over in the next few days. I'm acting CEO of Lombard Industries with Brock gone, and just a few things I need to go over with you.
All right, fine. Just give my office a call anytime.
Good.
I was getting worried.
No need. The move we made tonight was perfect. You know when I found out? Those diamonds Brock had? They were found in Caleb Snyder's coat pocket.
Philip, what is really going on here?
I think that should be obvious, Jim. Ellie Snyder got her brother to help kill Brock. And they were going to take the diamonds as a kind of little bonus. The story will be hitting the papers soon. Now that I found an ally in Lucinda Walsh-Dixon.
well, Jane, keep looking for him, all right? Yes, that old man has some explaining to do. I'm very cross with Ambrose. And then get back. Bye.
Your toes are getting cold.
Are they already? Where were we, darling?
I was telling you now about Duke.
Oh,
Because, you see...
Oh, my.
Please, please, could could we just be together without discussing Duke? I accept him as your son, even though there's no proof.
I've said that I can't help that. I've asked him here numerous times. He doesn't come. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to slay the fatted calf or something.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to move this guy Sawyer out of that apartment down by the pool so Duke can move back in, okay?
Okay, it's done.
Will you do that?
Yes, I'll do that. Where is the phone? That's
You hear
Ambrose. I'll make dispatch of him. Ambrose, my darling. Oh. Mr. Evans, I'm sorry. What? No. I'm glad you called me. What time did this happen? All right. Well, carry on and stay near the phone in case I have to get back to you. Thank you for calling. That was Mr. Evans, the head of my security at Walsh. A body has been found in Ellie Snyder's office. Wow.
It did?
Yeah. Darling, we're not going to have a moment's peace, are we? I've got to call Marlowe. Oh. But why doesn't Ambrose get back to me? This has got to get on the first edition. Why doesn't the police get in touch with me when things like that happen in my tower? Heads are going to roll, even if one of them is your son-in-law, the DA.
Are you going to stay angry with me all night?
Maybe.
Well, that's going to defeat the whole purpose of having Lisa let you off early, isn't it?
You know, I can't believe that you called her and told her that I had an early appointment. Tonio, I need this job. Until I get a contract from Veronica Leathers, this is the only job that I have. Plus, Lisa is my friend, and I don't like lying to her. And if you keep doing stuff like this on my behalf, she's gonna know there's something going on between us. And I don't want Andy.
I don't want to hear any more about Andy, all right? I'm going to go downstairs and get some brandy. When I come back, I hope you're in a better mood.
Hi, it's me. Yeah, I just wanted to call and arrange some time that we could get together and talk tomorrow. Andy, what's going on? I don't know, you sound kind of weird.
So just as soon as you feel up to it, Kim and I would love to have you over for dinner.
Thank you, Bob.
You get some sleep.
I will.
And see that your mother does the same. You know, she was dozing off at the hospital. That's why I insisted on driving her home.
I'll take care of her.
Listen, thank you for all those kind words earlier. It really did help.
I meant it, Susan. You're a good mother, and you're a fine doctor. You've made a success of your life. Don't be so hard on yourself.
I won't.
You get some sleep. Doctor's orders.
What happened? Why isn't Ellen here?
I went to call her, to have her come over, and Philip Lombard called. He wanted to come by and talk to me.
You didn't let him.
Why not? There is a detective right outside the door. I was fine. And he said a lot of things that made sense, Mom. You know, I think that my original instincts were right. Ellie and Caleb were the ones who killed Brock.
It's crushed. You know, it figures I'd be the only one to sign in after hours at the Walsh Towers. Guess I couldn't figure the killer would sign in, too.
Well, since Roper didn't sign in either, it shows that there was some other entrance into the building, and the killer probably used it, too. I can use that to your advantage.
When, Jessica? When I'm on trial for murder?
No, but Caleb, don't say that.
But how many setups do you think the police are going to believe before they really start to believe that we're guilty?
Okay, thanks a lot.
What's up?
The medical examiner says whoever strangled Roper was very strong. Not only did he asphyxiate him, he crushed his windpipe in the process.
Oh, great. That's not going to help Caleb. With all the farm work he does, he must be as strong as... Hendricks, what do you got?
Lab said only prints found on the strap used to kill Roper were those of Caleb Snyder's.
Well, look, I'm not surprised. I mean, Caleb said that he removed the leather strap from around Roper's neck the first thing when he found him.
They also said they found horse hairs sticking to the strap, so it was probably cut from a bridle or a halter.
Terrific.
You think somebody's trying to make Caleb Snyder look guilty? Bet you if we go over to the Snyder farm and check the barn, we're gonna find a cut harness or bridle on the premises.
You know, I think somebody ought to follow Caleb home and make sure he doesn't go into the barn to destroy evidence. If we don't follow him, at some later date, somebody's going to accuse us of not being thorough.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, I'll tail him. Okay.
Caleb, that's all for now. You're free to go.
Terrific.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
I'll be talking to you.
Look, guys, I've been thinking about this, and I think I might know why the Lombard organization wanted to set me up. I've known that Ellie gave Brock an alibi for the Dreyfus murders a year ago last September.
Wait a minute, Caleb.
Listen, Jessica, let me say this. I want this all out in the open. I told Brock that I knew about it on the morning he was murdered.
Okay, Caleb. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Okay.
Damn, I hope he doesn't go anywhere near that barn tonight. See you guys later.
Bye.
Mr. Hughes, a call for you on 6.
Thank you.
Tom Hughes. Hello, Lucinda. Yes, I'm aware that it happened in your building. Lucinda, the City Times will get an official release when every other newspaper does. I can't talk to you now. Bye-bye. What do you got, Henry?
You know those prints we couldn't identify on the door of Brock Lombard's hotel suite? Well, we fingerprinted the Dreyfus kid the day before we put him in protective custody. And guess what? Bingo. Perfect match.
Stay tuned for Guiding Light, next on most of these CBS stations. Fashions by Regina Porter. Join us tomorrow for As the World Turns.